you go. The Org. Never heard of. It is indeed Friday. Excuse my loss of memory. Alright. You win this time, guy in chat. But first, I want you guys to type as if you were drunk, alright? Not like drunk typing, like misspelling, but how you would talk if you were drunk. Alright? Let's say you're trying to explain something to a friend, but you're way too fucking wasted. Alright? No, not mistyping, just how you would talk. Alright? Nina asked me to ask you, because she needs some reference points for her game. How people talk. Would talk normally, but grammar would suck. But you don't really talk normally though, do you? You use a phrases.
Nice. I wanna fuck your girlfriend. I'm gonna use that one for my game. Thank you, chat.
Welcome to Uganda.
I think you repeat yourself like 100 billion times. That's a classic, yes, guy in chat. And you keep using weird phrases that you normally wouldn't use. Maybe like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But you're awesome. You're awesome. I talk like you, Forsen. Alright. Well, I don't know. It would have probably been better if you went around the party on New Year's Eve and had a fucking recorder. Right? That would have probably been a better way than...
But they have the Swedish accent, so...
Yeah, but this...
you know, they already can't say J.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
like...
I guess. Alright, I guess. What is this? New DJ Fortnite Gamer Twitch.
Streamer.
Remember when a fast chat was a good chat? Because I do. So let's do like back in the old days. And spam some TriHard. Streamer add some mods and some VIPs and start spamming one TriHard per line. And remember, you were not spamming
Howdy
fast
Forsen,
enough if you
have
are
you
not
tried
probably
Game
at
Bubba?
the
Is
end of the song.
It's a 100%
have.
way to make puzzle game. You should try
Pretty
it.
good game.
Have a good Friday, Rebecca. Black feels okay.
Try hard. Free Wi-Fi. Try hard. Real trap shit.
Why is this a new song? This is like the oldest meme. This is like the oldest copy pasta. What the hell?
Try hard. Try hard. How do you get rid of the joy friends? Try hard. New World Sound and Thomas Newson's song Blue. Try hard. When you hear a lit beat. Try hard. With TriHex rates your stream. Try hard. Try hard. Try hard.
Alright, whatever floats your
Try
boat,
hard.
chat. Whatever floats your boat, man.
Try hard.
Lightfoot Sam,
The
Cake
chat is in
Muscles,
emoji.
Jimmy Russell's
Try
like,
hard.
dislike, panic
When the chat
disorder.
is going super fast.
I'm
Try
a
hard. When
ABK
your girl
and
gets blind,
Verinius.
the last thing
Tourette
she
and
sees.
Benji.
Try hard. When the thing goes scrap.
Kikoma
Try hard.
says, hope you won't mind playing one song on the background before you start
Try
playing.
hard.
No,
Try hard.
I do, man.
Try hard.
Right? I just explained the rules for you, motherfuckers.
Try hard. When you get a whisper from the bot. Try hard. No name band. Try
Ginger
hard.
Matt on his fans is looking
When Twitch
forward
globally
for
bans
more
you.
of this
Try
today.
hard. When you get unbanned. Try hard. Try hard. Try hard. Try hard. Try hard.
I don't know what,
When you get
I guess I'll
VIP
watch
in
it
the
after,
chat.
but
Try hard.
I don't know what this is.
When they remove your VIP again. Try hard. Ice Poseidon haha. Try hard. When the streamer types try hard. Try hard.
Alright, how long is this fucking shit, dude?
Try hard.
Alright, it's 10 more seconds. Alright, I can do it.
Try hard. Try hard. Try hard.
Alright. Alright. Fall King. Wait, what? That's not even possible. That's not even possible, right? You land in the church.
Welcome to Uganda.
What? How is this edited? This is the second expansion?
Welcome to Uganda.
I thought that was pretty cool. The water at the middle. And the wind is gonna take him down. He's pretending he could have saved that. Oh shit, PTSD right away.
Welcome to Uganda.
Instant PTSD, dude. Instant. $3 from Nexon. Happy New Year, Forsen. I think you will find this video interesting as this game was relevant at the start of the last decade. At the start of the last decade. The rise and fall of the
Queen
first
falls,
group
but
esports.
Scarlet on
Oh,
the
yeah.
red group is.
Oh my God!
Why is the quality for ants?
Oh my God!
This was just the quality back in the day or what? No wonder they fucking died.
In many ways, StarCraft gave birth to esports as we know it. From literally being launched into space to drawing thousands of rabid fans to arenas, it was a legit esport before the word was even invented. In terms of the sheer number of participants, the coverage, and the money at stake, StarCraft used to be the biggest esport on the planet. But now, it's hard to feel like it really even matters. So what happened? What toppled the king of
It
esports?
paved the way. It paved the way for other games, honestly, in terms of esports. Even though, like,
To give you
games
an
like
idea of just how
Counter-Strike
huge StarCraft was,
is older and
120,000
shit.
people showed up to watch the StarCraft Sky
the production
Pro League
value was
Finals
just
in
over the top in
2005.
StarCraft.
That's
And then
40,000
every other
more
event
people than were
copied
in
that
the
shit.
arena for the Super Bowl that same year. Meanwhile,
Quake
this
didn't
year,
have the production
StarCraft
value for
streams
those
were
saying
lucky to
Quake.
even hit
I know it was before,
85,000 people.
but it didn't have the
And
production
that's for
value we
people
had in
watching from the
StarCraft.
comfort of their own home.
That
But
was
to
when Twitch
understand
was
why StarCraft fell,
starting to
you have to
get
understand what made
going.
it so great in the first place.
When Brood War came out, about a year after StarCraft came out, the game became really, really popular in Korea. So popular that even people who didn't play computer games knew about it, and they even knew about the best players, who they were, because they were on television so much.
Back when gamers were still considered basement-dwelling losers in the West, pro StarCraft gamers in
We're
Korea
not.
were revered as gods.
Got in a taxi coming from the airport, and there was a poster, and I think it was a boxer advertising something or other. And you know, I think I made some sort of remark, and the taxi driver then proceeded to tell us that he was training to become a professional gamer. And this guy was probably in his 60s, and yet here he was, you know, going down to the LAN cafe, the PC bangs, every other day after work to practice Brute Ball. And it was only then I suddenly just went, okay, this is kind of crazy shit. This is way bigger than it is in the West.
The best of the best were given the title Bone Dry.
That's
a
kinda
title that
sad,
came
right?
For holding the love of the people.
Like, you
not
cannot
just
do
dry
it.
statistics
Like, there's no
and
way you
records.
can do it at
And
that
in
age.
Korea, StarCraft
But he
matches
really
were
wants
broadcast
to.
on television and eventually spawned entire
He doesn't want to
channels
drive a
dedicated
taxi
to
anymore.
broadcasting
He
the
wants to
game.
be a pro gamer.
Korean StarCraft teams were
StarCraft.
even sponsored by corporate giants like Korea Telecom and South Korea Telecom.
So what happened was these PC bangs sprung up all over Seoul and all over Korea, which
They don't have
allowed
an old
players to
people
go
league,
in
no.
and spend
They
free
have
time at very little
women's
cost on
league,
high-quality
I
PCs
think.
at the time anyway, and they all
Small
came
one.
preloaded with Brood War. So suddenly you've got all of these things combining. TV looking for, you know, new stars, sports people looking for new sports stars, brands looking for young males in particular, but also women to advertise their products. And here comes this massively popular, effectively free game that people can play in PC bangs. And so it was a perfect storm. All of these things combined to allow StarCraft and Brood War in particular to just rise up out of nowhere. And within a couple of years, they had TV stations devoted to the games and to the leagues.
By the mid-2000s, StarCraft had a fully built-out esports infrastructure in Korea, one that was used as a model for the West. But StarCraft got so big so fast that there was little room for growth. By 2006, StarCraft hadn't been patched in 5 years, which is insane given how often games get patched these days.
I don't agree with this. Killed by its own creator. I don't think that's the case. The reason why StarCraft became so good is because, for once, Blizzard did not balance it in so long. He said 5 years. It balanced itself. And the only way people made it better is by making custom maps. But it was perfectly balanced. Like the win rates between everything was perfectly balanced. It was crazy. It was probably 90% fucking luck on their part, Blizzard's part.
As the StarCraft community
But it was
was
so
concerned,
balanced. You haven't
the
seen
game
a
had been figured out.
balanced game
There
like
were no more
StarCraft
new
1
moves to
in
make, no more new strategies
ever
to
almost.
develop. That is, until Jaedong showed up.
Jaedong was the only one who could kill Flash.
Jaedong's rivalry with Flash, the greatest StarCraft player of all time, revitalized the game.
With these two, you don't need qualifiers. These are actually just the greatest gamers ever.
But at the end of the day, they were still playing a decade-old game. The StarCraft community needed something new.
Hell, it's about time.
StarCraft II Wings of Liberty was the beginning of a new chapter for the game. Slowly but surely, it pushed Brood War out of the competitive arena. And for a few glorious years, StarCraft II was the biggest esport in the world.
Where's his Archons? He needs to get those in there. He cut down the Archons before it was done.
Rich.
And the Void Rays come out. And Archon goes in. And Archon goes in. Get in there. Oh my God, what are we seeing? It looks like Star. This is madness. Oh my God, he's gonna get all kills army. Oh, the PCs are all going down. I can't believe what I just saw.
And unlike Brood War, Wings of Liberty was bigger than just South Korea.
Guys, make some noise. Stefano is the
Best
WCS
foreigner.
European champion.
StarCraft II was unstoppable.
Heart of StarCraft.
At least until Heart of the Swarm happened. Heart of the Swarm was StarCraft II's first expansion, and any hype the community had going in was quickly deflated by a pretty severe drop in game balance. The big problem were Swarm Hosts, a Zerg-only tool that could basically spawn infinite units without the need for gas or minerals.
The Swarm Host, I think, is the worst thing to come to StarCraft 2.
And if all that is gibberish to you, all you really have to know is that Swarm Hosts were broken.
I don't think he has any plan. I've lost all comprehension of what he could do from here. There is no answer. I really feel there is no answer.
Swarm Host meant that every Zerg player just wanted to slow the game down to a crawl. And who could blame them? If it worked,
Well,
they were gonna win the
45
game.
minutes.
G, Firecake takes game at number 1. And he knew that for a long time, as did we, but
Yeah.
in the end,
Kinda
patience wins out.
And sure,
kills
there was a
the
cool
shit.
match
The
every
audience
once
sits there
in
for
a
1 hour
while, but
45
most
minutes
people were
watching
complaining that
fucking
StarCraft
little
wasn't fun to
Zerglings
watch anymore.
crawl
This
up
game
every
is not the most
10
entertaining
seconds
game we've ever seen, to say
or
the
15
least.
seconds.
They are playing exactly as they should be. At least for the last hour.
Well, they're playing as they should be if they want to win. I don't know if the viewers would agree. This is how they should
You were
play.
Zerg though.
And
Yeah,
as
but I didn't
StarCraft's
play
popularity
Heart of
began
the
to
Swarm.
wane, more and more players
Stopped right
began
before.
to retire.
I am not going to continue as a competitive player.
This was also
It's just gotten to the point where competition
before.
is not enjoyable for me anymore.
Fan favorite Stefano, for example, jumped ship live on stream.
The
The reign of Stefano has come to an end.
That is an end of a very special era for that young man there. He's accomplished so much in his StarCraft 2 career. He's been the guy, he's been the player. He's made a lot of money playing StarCraft 2. He's not enjoying it as much as he used to.
By 2015, other games had risen up to take StarCraft's place in the esports world. Heart of the Swarm crippled the game, but Blizzard was hoping that their next expansion could revive it.
Do you think maybe the Legacy of the Void has legs? Do we feel like that's the case?
Absolutely. I think the biggest question will be how much and for how long. It's always going to be one of those top 5 games.
Over the next few years, Blizzard tried to make the game faster, to bring it more in line with the StarCraft that everyone fell in love with. But their next decision put the final nail in StarCraft's coffin. In 2016, Blizzard region-locked StarCraft 2 tournaments. That meant that Korean players could only play with other Korean players in Korea for tournament purposes. It was supposed to introduce some regional diversity into StarCraft's pretty Korean-dominated competitive scene.
Ladies and gentlemen, MMA, he is back. He is your Season 3 World Championship Series Europe champion.
What Blizzard didn't anticipate is that it created a sort of vacuum in South Korea. All of the new up-and-coming South Korean players could now only play against the veterans who'd been dominating the game for years.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely unfair, right, on an individual level. Koreans are subjected to a different set of rules than foreigners, a much stricter set of rules. Like, intuitively, that will just strike a lot of people as being unfair. In general, as the Korean scene has progressed, the lower tier...
The reason why they did this is to try and save the game, actually. They didn't want all the Europeans and Americans to get just completely crushed by Koreans. So they wanted the Koreans to take out each other, and then the top Europeans and top Koreans and whatever, you know, would... because no one wants to watch a tournament. No European, some Europeans, but most Europeans would like to cheer on a European person. Americans would like to cheer on an American person, right? You know how it is in esports. And when you have a tournament full of top 8 only Koreans, it's kind of lackluster for the rest of the world, right? So they wanted the Koreans to take out each other and shit.
Without new blood,
so this
the game stagnated. Then sponsors began to drop out, moving on to more lucrative games
actually,
like League of Legends, Dota, and
not a
CSGO.
bad move, but it was
Later that year, Pro League
wasn't about that. It was about the game
the
just being
running league
too hard
history.
to
Korean
draw an
players are not
audience
improving at the same rate as they
by
have
itself.
because the team house structures have collapsed. They have less support in that aspect. They're all living on their own essentially, and there's a lot less collaboration within the Korean scene as there used to be.
The other problem, of course, is that real-time strategy games like StarCraft just aren't that popular anymore. They're fast-paced and complicated, and they don't really lend well to a pleasant viewing experience for a newcomer. Die-hard StarCraft fans stuck it out, and the scene isn't without its bright spots. The game still has a following all over the world, with nostalgia keeping the grandfather of all esports afloat. But there's still that nagging what if. What if StarCraft didn't fail? And what, if anything, could bring it back to its former glory? In 2017, Blizzard made StarCraft free to play, and they introduced the War Chest, a crowdfunding initiative that attempted to make the esport more viable. But Blizzard can't turn back the clock. The fans are dedicated, and the game is still great, but it'll never be as huge as it once was. StarCraft will always be the granddaddy of esports, but its glory days are over.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring that notification bell. For unique
But
bite-sized
it wasn't
videos
for
you
nothing,
won't
as I
find
said.
anywhere else,
It did pave
hit
the
up our
way
Instagram,
for
Twitter,
how
and Facebook
production value
pages.
was set up for esports in general. Like, if it wasn't for StarCraft, or if it wasn't for like DreamHack, ESL is now owned by DreamHack, MTG. If it wasn't for those tournaments experimenting with StarCraft, there wouldn't be like fucking fire or explosions when the bomb goes off in Counter-Strike and all this shit, you know. So it was important that it happened, but whoever is first is usually not the winner, you know. But good times, good times. World War 3. What is this World War 3 shit? I read something about bomb in Iran, but I didn't actually read it. I don't know. Can I get a quick recap when I click Twitter?
Our president will start a war with Iran
2011.
because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. We have a real problem in the White House. So, I believe that he will attack Iran sometime prior to the election because he thinks that's the only way he can get elected. Isn't it pathetic? Our president will start a war with Iran.
Wow, that didn't age well. Or amazing. I don't know which one. One or the other. Alright, can I get an actual? Let's check his actual Twitter. Trump.
Welcome to Uganda.
Pinned tweet 13 hours ago. Iran never won a war but never lost a negotiation. Wow, that clip was so good.
Welcome to Uganda.
Where can I see the like official, like I don't know what's going on. White mod, yeah, sorry. I don't know what's going on here. The one above you just read. This one.
Welcome to Uganda.
So they airstriked Iran and killed him? What? That's so out of the blue. With a drone. What the hell? I mean, I guess it has to be out of the blue, otherwise it's not gonna be a very effective mission. But still, I mean, people always joke about World War III ever since he got elected, right? But Jesus Christ.
Welcome to Uganda.
They airstriked Iraq to kill the Iranian military leader. Oh, so he was in Iraq and they drone bombed him at an airport. And what does Iraq have to say about this? Is he fine with this?
Hey chat, is it attacking Iran? Kill a terrorist in Iraq. Who was responsible for a terror attack on the embassy there? Who happens to be an Iranian general?
Yeah, Iraq is allied with the US.
Welcome to Uganda.
Huh. Or is it really allied? I don't know. I don't know what you should call it, but they have a lot of control there, right? At least. I mean, elections are coming up. This is 50-50, hit or miss, I guess. Dead donates 3 and says read the first few paragraphs. US kills top Iranian general in Baghdad airstrike. Iran's most powerful military commander Qasem Soleimani has been killed by US airstrikes in Iraq. The 62-year-old spearheaded Iranian military operations in the Middle East as head of Iran's elite Quds force. I don't know what that is. He was killed at Baghdad airport along with other Iranian-backed militia figures early on Friday in a strike ordered by US President Donald Trump. Mr. Trump said the general was directly and indirectly responsible for the deaths of millions of people. Alright.
Welcome to Uganda.
Huh. President Trump, who was in Florida at the time of the strike, tweeted an image of the American flag shortly after the news broke.
Low WI code for a few rounds and bought in a WP and a decoy and took the Iranian dude out.
Best president for sure.
Secretary of State explains it here.
You put out a statement a short time ago that says the decision to eliminate General Soleimani was in response to imminent threats to American lives. What was the nature of those imminent threats?
Can't disclose.
John, I can't talk too much about the nature of the threats, but the American people should know that President Trump's decision to remove Qasem Soleimani from the battlefield saved American lives. There's no doubt about that. He was actively plotting in the region to take actions, a big action as he described it, that would have put dozens, if not hundreds, of American lives at risk. We know it was imminent. This was an intelligence-based assessment that drove our decision-making process. The American people also know the history of Qasem Soleimani, hundreds of American lives on his hands too. He was involved in the Beirut bombings. He'd orchestrated an attack right here in Washington, D.C. It ultimately failed. This is a man who's put American lives at risk for an awfully long time. And last night was the time that we needed to strike to make sure that this imminent attack that he was working actively was disrupted.
A specific target overseas?
I'm not going to say anything more about the nature of the attack, but know that this was not just in Iraq, it was throughout the region. It was using these proxy forces that he has manipulated for so long to bring so much destruction to the Shias and Sunnis, the Muslims throughout the region. This is a man who inflicted enormous harm not only on American lives, but created terribly destructive activities supporting Lebanese Hezbollah, Hamas, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, all of the bad actors in the Middle East. Qasem Soleimani was at the center of all of it.
Was there any imminent threat to the U.S. homeland?
I can't disclose.
These were threats that were located in the region.
Yeah, so basically, there's numerous, like so many reasons why he can't say more information. And basically, if he says, oh yeah, so New York or California was about to get targeted, and then something does happen, and they already, first of all, it creates panic, right? But second of all, if something does happen, and they say, oh, something will happen in California, and something happens in California, they will get blamed for not stopping it, you know, if they had the intel. There is so many effects of saying it. It's just better not to say it at all whatsoever. It doesn't mean that they're making shit up, but I mean, that's weird. That's weird. You kind of always expected something to happen.
I will explain. I had staged an embassy attack so I could justify a drone strike at public international airport in Iraq to kill the highest ranking officer of the Iranian military. It's basically like killing a Secretary of State and Defense both.
Welcome to Uganda.
I don't know about that. The Armageddon says an Iraqi militia backed by Iran sent missiles that killed a U.S. contractor. U.S. responded by bombing their base. Then the militia organized protests and stormed the U.S. embassy. The U.S. responded by bombing an airport where Soleimani was. Huh. So it's already... Oh, okay. Donald Trump official.
Welcome to Uganda.
Imagine hating me so much that you liberals are supporting the dictatorship in Iran, Hezbollah terrorists who killed 500
Wait,
Americans.
what the fuck? Donald Trump official. Is that his official? That's not his official, right? I just gotta double check. No, it's not. Yes, just Donald Trump. I didn't think it was, but you got jebaited. You got jebaited. Well, I don't know. You scared, US? I mean, I'm Swedish, so no one would ever do anything in Sweden in terms of this debate. I don't know. It just feels weird that I don't think it will. It won't be World War III or anything. Like, no one's gonna bother with that shit, right?
America, 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 greatest country on earth.
Greatest country on the earth.
Well, W, I cross-mapped his ass.